Hi, and welcome to the third episode of the Silver Lining series, Let's All Roll Our Eyes Together. Before we get started, let's all take a deep breath and try to be present in this moment. All together now. Inhale and exhale. And all together now. 1, 2, 3. Eye roll. I hear you. Any guesses what we're talking about today? Yep, mindfulness. Arguably the wellness topic of all wellness topics. And arguably overdone? I'm not so sure. But I do know that the topic of mindfulness is talked about so much and so often that even though intentions are good, the meaning can get lost and feel inauthentic. And this is coming from me, who talks about and teaches mindfulness techniques every single day. So I can laugh at how eye-rolly it sounds when we start a meeting with a deep breath and also understand the intention on both a physiological and personal level. So bear with me here. As a refresher, mindfulness is defined as paying attention on purpose in the present moment non-judgmentally. Too overused? Maybe. What about mindfulness is present moment awareness based in kindness? And I know based in kindness may sound too fluffy, but that's part of our problem. Sometimes fluffy isn't always a bad thing. And if it's not clear already, we are part of the problem. But I do think that mindfulness has come to be viewed as overdone because it's used interchangeably with stress reduction and relaxation. A mindful moment at the start of a meeting is usually intended to provide a feel good moment to relax before you get into the details of the workday. But when you're feeling burnt out and don't want to even be participating in the meeting to begin with, it can feel forced. I get it. But at the end of the day, I do believe intentions are good. And feeling good and reducing stress and finding a moment to relax can absolutely be secondary benefits to mindfulness. But it's more than that. Mindfulness is also shown to improve mood, sleep quality, body awareness, positive thinking, emotion regulation, and so much more. Mindfulness is a practice, and I use the word practice intentionally. Mindfulness is not a skill or a tool that comes naturally to us, and it's not our fault, really. We are part of a society that teaches and encourages us to operate at full speed all the time, to constantly chase the next goal, to do the most because the more you do, the more success you'll have, and I could go on. It's the never-ending hamster wheel we all have found ourselves on at one point or another. And we may notice we're on it, but we don't know how to get off of it. But that way of operating leaves no room to be mindful. Instead, it just leaves our minds constantly full. And there's a big difference. So even though a big deep breath before a workday may not do it for you, which again, I totally get, there are so many mindfulness techniques you can learn and keep in your back pocket for when you are feeling distracted or for when your emotions are high and you can't figure out why, or for when you're feeling overtired and are counting down the minutes until the end of the day. Mindfulness is about inviting yourself to where you already are. A radical thought, I know. But too often are we sitting in a meeting, but we're thinking about what we brought for lunch. Or we're driving home from work, but we're thinking about the last few emails we didn't get to. Or we're trying to fall asleep, but we can't stop thinking about our to-do list for the next day. Very rarely are we aware of where we actually are. And when we do check in, we're oftentimes not very nice to ourselves. We tend to be judgmental and rude and induce our own sense of guilt and shame because we're not doing enough, or we should be doing or feeling X instead of Y. But here's a secret. If we're not practicing self-kindness, we're not practicing mindfulness. I know it sounds cheesy, but there's no way around it. And it only sounds cheesy because for some reason, showing ourselves kindness and compassion is unknown territory and makes us uncomfortable. And that's a problem. And I'm not standing here telling you to look in the mirror in the morning and say, I am beautiful, I am smart, I can do anything I set my mind to. Although go for it if you want, because there are great benefits to affirmations. I'm just here to remind you to stop. Stop for one moment and check in with yourself. How is your body feeling? How is your mind feeling? What do you notice around you? What can you see, hear, touch? How's your breathing? Your heart rate? Your posture? What's one thing you could change right now to help yourself feel better? That is practicing mindfulness. You're welcome. Not as eye-rolly as you thought, I hope. The idea is to be present with yourself, to be kind to yourself. And you can even roll your eyes while you do it. No judgment here. Until next time, on Let's All Roll Our Eyes Together.